Hello everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we have a large book haul. So this is a September book haul. This pile is very precarious here. I'm going to move this and change you guys around. Okay, we can still sort of see that over there. Yeah, this is my September book haul. It is large. It is larger than any other book haul I think I have done this year. We have 41 books to talk about today. Some of them are because we did have a Stuff Your Kindle event at the beginning of September, so I have quite a few like ebooks to talk about. But I still also have like 24 physical books to go through. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to do first. We're gonna get through the pile that we have here. Let's just jump right on in. So I moved some things around. I think we're gonna start with the book box books. Some of these I've done unboxings for and I will mention them as we go. The first two I have here I actually did not do an unboxing for, and it's because these ones were technically August books that didn't come in until September, and so it was like very early in the month, and I was like, oh, I'm not really gonna get that many book box books this month. I am going to prove myself wrong. But the first one I have here is the Rainbow Crate edition for August. We have two books. We have a traditionally published book and an indie published book. Let's start with the traditionally published book. We have Practical Rules for Cursed Witches by Kayla Cottingham. I love how cutesy this dust jacket looks. And I do say dust jacket because this is their dust jacket that goes just on top of the traditionally published book, which has this one. Like, I actually really like that cover as well. This has nutrition facts, just like always. Oh, I don't think I realized we had character art at the bottom of the nutrition facts. I don't think we usually have that. And so this is where I'm getting like what this book is about. I really don't know for a ton of these, and I like the fact that I don't have to read into the summary a ton. I can use the nutrition facts. So for this book here, representation in this book, we have white bisexual main character, white sapphic female main character, a non-binary side character, and Achillean side characters. For genre, it is YA fantasy. For plot, we have witchy things, trademarked, absentee fathers, curse breaking, and true love. Demographics is 10% adult and 90% young adult with a third person point of view. So it does sound like this is obviously a young adult fantasy with a little bit of romance and stuff like that in there. Has some crossover appeal for adults, but in general it is a YA fantasy. I thought this one sounded really cute when this was being talked about. I think even before we knew this was a Rainbow Crate book, so I'm very excited for that one. The indie book that we have here is Dragon Falls: How to Tame a Husband by Davis Lavender. Oh, okay, so the theme for this one was cozy fantasy. That was part of the reason I was all in on this box. I love me some cozy fantasy. I will say that the dust jacket for this one came very off, like off center, even more than it looks now. I tried to refold it a little bit and it's just not wanting to work with me, which is a little bit sad. Oh, here's our little spoiler thing. It was cozy fantasy. This one, since it is indie, is actually published by Rainbow Crate. So the dust jacket and edges and underneath the dust jacket, all of that is stuff that they did themselves. I love how holographic this is, and it's like a cute dragon with music. Like, I'm so curious to see how that's gonna play into this. And then we do have end papers and things as well. Like, they go all out on their indie books, which I do love. The end papers are the same on both sides. But again, I don't know 100% everything about it, so we're going to read the nutrition facts that have a nice like gold foiled dragon at the bottom. So for this one, representation is Achillean, gay, demi-romantic, demisexual, and queer normative world. Like, sounds great to me. Genre is cozy isekai / portal fantasy. I think that's what that isekai, I could be mistaken on how to pronounce that, means. Plot, we have Grumpy Sunshine, Slow Burn, Enemies to Lovers, and Found Family. And for demographics, it's 100% adult, first person point of view. Yeah, cozy fantasy, I'm all in. Every other book box book that we're talking about today, I did do a video for, so I will leave them linked down below. The first one we have here is the Falconer series by Elizabeth May. So the first book in this series is the Falconer. They do have in papers and stuff. You can see it in the unboxing video and stuff underneath the dust jacket. This is a series that was originally YA fantasy, and it is now changed to adult fantasy or romantasy. I don't know exactly which one. Book 2 is The Vanishing Throne. It's a very deep purple. And the author had talked about how this was a series that was one of her first series, I think, published. And when she wrote it and was selling it to publishers, they made her make it a YA series. Third book is The Fallen Kingdom, a very, very deep blue. And because the rights are now hers again, it has gone out of print, it's been out of print for a while, she decided to rework some stuff. So changed up how much romance I think that is in here, aged up the characters, made certain things more adult in different ways. I don't know how much that's going to play in or not. I don't know how many scenes are different or anything like that, because I've actually never read the YA one. I've always been curious, but hearing her talk about like how she got to change things to be more in level with like how she's writing nowadays and things that she wants to tell and like aging the characters back up, it sounds like it was supposed to be an adult series originally. I'm very, very curious to read this now. We also have really nice edges. So yeah, Falconer series. Then we also had a triple unboxing on my channel where I unboxed some book boxes. We have the Break-Up Pact by Emma Lord. This was the Afterlight book for September, the month that we were in. This should be a like fake dating romance where we have two people who used to be friends back in the day, but something happened where they're not friends anymore, and both of their partners broke up with them or cheated on them, or you know, something. There was some sort of scandal about their exes, and then they got pictured together by the tabloids or whatever, and they decide to fake date to make people like jealous and stuff. I don't know. I think this cover, like what they did with it now, is very, very cutesy, and like even like the edges and stuff, so I'm hoping for like really cutesy fake dating awesome vibes. Then we had the Illumicrate for September, which was Darker Academia, and we had A Dark and Drowning Tide by Allison Saft. I like the vibe of this cover. It is very, very different than what I thought the book was going to be, and I have seen some people complaining a little bit of like all they did was slap the US cover onto this naked hardcover, and then it's like literally nothing on the back. So I do feel maybe like, I don't think I was necessarily complaining about that, but I do feel like the design choices for this book specifically from Illumicrate are a little bit interesting, because yeah, the naked hardcover is not as good as they have other books for their naked hardcovers. I'm curious again about like the vibes that we're gonna get from this, because like look at that cover. But this is going to be a sapphic story, also like sort of like a murder mystery and magical creatures and things. I'm very, very curious about this one, and again I'm assuming dark academia because the theme was darker academia. And then the last part that we had was the Rainbow Crate editions of the Foxhole Court, the Raven King and the King's Men, otherwise known as the All for the Game series. And I switched around the covers because I do like this vibe, but they do have reversible covers. So like the first one was also this. I love the naked hardcovers. This is a series that I absolutely love. I showed all the like cool stuff in the unboxing video. One thing I will say is, since I have unboxed it, I do my initial reactions when I unbox things. So that means I'm not looking into the nitty-gritty of details on these books. And one thing that came up multiple times is there are errors on the dust jackets. Some of them are for like the characters on the roster, like their positions. One thing was for spelling. I think the other thing was for book 2, The Raven King. If you look at the summary, it is the same summary as the Foxhole Court. Like they didn't put the right thing on there. I'm also now noticing they don't have the title above this one. So Rainbow Crate has recently put out that they are going to have dust jackets available for people that need to and want to have the right proper things on the books, especially since this was like over $100 worth of books and we've been waiting for months. So I like the fact that they're taking accountability for that, and I've already ordered my replacement dust jackets. We'll see how long it takes for them to come in. I now know my series is out of order here, but like, look at that. They're gorgeous. It's one of my favorite series. Yeah, I had to get them. Okay, so after those book box books, the next things that we're going to talk about are pre-orders that I had ordered previous to September, and they came in September. The first one on top here, we have Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune. I don't know if this is the standard edition or the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, but it has the most like mustardy yellow edges here, and that's like top, bottom, everything. It is highlighter in your face. We have this underneath the dust jacket. This is the sequel to The House in the Cerulean Sea, which I absolutely loved, and it was a standalone. You didn't necessarily need a sequel, but I'm very curious to see where this is gonna go. I do believe this is already out and he's already had some signings and things for this, but I think he's coming to Seattle sometime in December, and I got a ticket for the event for that, so I'm very, very excited for this. I need to like read this book. And then I also have another pre-order here, Celestial Monsters by Aiden Thomas. This is the sequel and finale to the Sunbearer Trials, which I read earlier this year. Absolutely loved. 5 out of 5 stars. Fantasy with like Latinx gods and things like that. I really love the characters. Like, that was one of my favorite things about this, was the friendships and the characters. We have trans characters and things like that. It definitely feels very trans-normative and queer-normative in this world. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, which has like the pretty cover. Although I like the original cover as well. Has constellations and stuff under there, and then I think there is like an annotated chapter or something like that at the back of the book. Yeah, there's a paper in there that says like, do not read until you've read this whole book. So there's like an annotated chapter as well. I'm very, very excited to have that one as well. Then I have a Kickstarter, so technically a pre-order, but through Kickstarter we have the Croaking Volume 2 by Megan J. Gray. This is a webcomic that was originally on Webtoons that I think I've read this whole book. Sometimes I read things and then like when they haven't updated in a little while, I wait for a while to like get back into it, but I think I have actually read up through where the end of this book is, so it's not anything that's going on my TBR. Something I've already read, but I really love this series and wanted to own it. I'm actually now realizing that I don't think I had this counted on my spreadsheet of things that I'm keeping track of for books that I'm buying and stuff, so actually I'm talking to you guys about 42 books today instead of 41. Yeah. Then the next thing that I have here are not pre-orders. These are just things that I ordered. And I have the 4 books of the Wilderlore series. I have been reading these this year on audio, and I've really, really, really enjoyed them. So I bit the bullet and I ended up buying them. The 4th book is the one that came out this year, so I am now officially caught up on this series. Book 1 is The Accidental Apprentice. We follow Barkley, who is our main character. He has grown up in the other worlds where they don't have magic, don't have lore, don't exactly look down on lore keepers, which are the people that have magic and have magical animals and stuff, but they're sort of scared of them. But he ends up swept up into the magical world, and so this first book is really establishing those sort of aspects of the story. I gave this one a 4. Then the second book is The Weeping Tide. We now get into more of the friendship and found family aspect as we go. There's also like mysteries surrounding the more ginormous, like extra mythical creatures in this world. I gave this one a 5. I really, really enjoyed it. Then book 3 is The Everstorms. Again, we just are continuing the journey. I want to say in book 1 he's like 11, and by book 3 to book 4 he's like 13, 14. So we're definitely getting through a lot of like time in between the books. Like, it takes some time to travel to these different biomes that we have here. I gave The Everstorms a 4.5. And then the last one we have is The Night Compass, which is book 4 and actually like much thicker than the other books in the series. I'm gonna grab that again. So like book 1 versus book 4. you can really see that we're spending a lot more time in these books. I do think that's partly because the characters are aging up as we're going through the series, and I gave this one a 5 as well. I just really enjoy the characters and the friendships and the found family and the magic system and stuff, and so I'm having a great time. I had to own them. Then I went on a trip near the end of September, either right before or right after this video goes up. I will have a vlog for that. It was just a thing that we did as a family, and I filmed some stuff and took pictures while we were there. But I bought books while we were there. So they had a Friends of the Library book sale while I was there. It was find books and then you pay whatever you want to pay for them. So I got 9 books while I was there. The first thing that I picked up were K.A. Applegate books. These are Everworld. The reason I picked these up is I have heard a lot about Animorphs. Animorphs came out when I was in elementary school, but I never read them. I wasn't into those ones as much, but I've been very curious about it because I follow Mariah over on Instagram, who does like a reread of Animorphs every single year, and I have been living for her like stories that go up. And so K.A. Applegate is the same author. This does seem to be more of a YA series. So I have book 1, Search for Senna, book 3, Enter the Enchanted, and book 7, Gateway to the Gods. Those were the only 3 that they had at the library book sale. But because I could pay whatever I wanted to, and I will let you know I paid $1 per mass market because that's what I got, I just picked them all up. I figure I will read the first one, see if I really enjoy it, and then if I do, I will find the rest of the series. I actually don't know too much about what this is about, and I don't want to like make this video longer than it has to be, so I'm just going to read like the first bit at the top. It says, there is a place that shouldn't exist but does, and there are creatures that shouldn't exist but do. Welcome to a land where all of your dreams and nightmares are very real and often deadly. Welcome to Everworld. I think this is some sort of maybe portal fantasy type of thing. So I have 3 books in this series, 1, 3, and 7. None of them are in order, but I did pick those up. Then I also picked up 5 romance books by Suzanne Brockman. I have never seen this author before. However, out of a lot of the types of romance and things that they had there, this was in the romance section, but also near the mystery section, so it wasn't like just in the pure romance area of the Friends of the Library book sale. And each of these books actually has 2 books in one, so technically it's like 10 stories. They're all some sort of romance, and it felt like they were not historical romance. I'm pretty sure they're not historical romance, but a lot of the things that were there were historical romance. I don't know anything else about them, but I grabbed them before anybody else could. So I do have, this is Tall, Dark, and Fearless. I don't know what order, if they need to be in an order at all. Tall, Dark, and Dangerous, Tall, Dark, and Deadly, Tall, Dark, and Daring, and Tall, Dark, and Devastating. One thing you should know about me, anytime I see the title of these books, I am very sad that we don't have the Oxford comma there. Just know that. I don't know anything else about these, but they are romances. And then I also picked up The Lost World by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who obviously is the author of the Sherlock Holmes books, which I used to be obsessed with Sherlock and Sherlock Holmes and anything to do with that world so much. I have not read or watched or done anything in that fandom in a while, but I do own a lot of the books, and I'm not saying that I am opposed to reading or watching or doing any of that kind of stuff, but like sometimes my obsessions come and go. But I picked up The Lost World, which definitely has a sticker on the cover right now, but it says before Jurassic Park there was The Lost World, and it talks about nests of pterodactyls, hordes of iguanodons, swarms of plesiosaurs still roaming the earth in the 20th century. I'm just, why not? Why not try a book about dinosaurs by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle? Like, why not? So I got that as well. Then, while on this same trip, we went to an indie bookstore called the Krampus Cave. It wasn't just a bookstore, it had a lot of comics, graphic novels, board games. Like, it was like something that, like, if I lived in that town more than just like visiting, I think I would be in there a lot. And I decided to buy something while I was there, very impulsively, but it was because, one, it was an indie bookstore, so might as well, but I've already read it, It's Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees by Patrick Hovarth. This is something that I read last month. Not last month, September. Last month, August. Gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. I borrowed it from the library, and I saw it there because they had a ton of comics and comic bind-ups, like single issues and comic bind-ups, and I had to have it. So I bought it. I did, yes. I've already read it. It was 5 out of 5 stars. It's gonna go straight on my shelves. But this is basically Richard Scarry's Busy Town meets Dexter. 100%. It is very dark, bloody, gory. The animals are the humans, so there is like murder and like Dexter type of things, and it is all animals. Keep that in mind, just because they are anthropomorphized, but I loved it. So actually I think that we've gotten through all of the physical books, but now that means we need to go through all of these Stuff Your Kindle books that I got in September, because that's all of the ebooks or Stuff Your Kindle books. I picked up 17 out of probably over 1,000, because every single time it seems like there are tons and tons now. We only had one day to do it, so I do think I potentially was not as like critical as I could have been if I was able to like debate do I want it or not, but everything was free. I am very, very curious about a lot of these and definitely want to try them out and see, so let's jump into those. I might not read the summary for everything and just sort of tell you some of the reasons I decided to get them in the first place. Also, I detest AI covers and things using generative AI for stuff in writing and reading and books. I was trying to be very, very careful with the covers that I was seeing, because like sometimes I can tell right away this looks AI, something is off, something is like not composed the right way, or the symmetry is off if it's supposed to be symmetrical. If for any reason you know of something that I missed, I will 100% take it off my TBR because it has AI. Like, I'm not going to feel bad about it. This is something that I've been seeing a lot more with every Stuff Your Kindle, and I don't know if it's because it's a little bit easier for people that are indie published to say, oh, well, I don't have the money to pay an artist to do a cover, I'm just going to do it myself, whereas like traditionally published ones, that's not on the author. Covers don't come from the authors when you're traditionally published, it's through the publisher. They usually have a designer and an artist and things like that, and yes, we've seen AI stuff get through traditionally published stuff as well, but that's not on the author, that's on the publisher. And so I am going to be very critical with that. Like, it's something I don't support. So again, if for some reason I missed anything anywhere, let me know, I will take it off. The first book that we have here is Wandering Souls by Angela Van Limpt. I probably said that totally mistaken. And this is a young adult fantasy paranormal type of book where a 17-year-old girl can see the dead, and I'm always very, very curious about that, so that is the reason I picked it up. I also picked up Scarlet Princess by Robin D. Mall and L. Madison, which is a steamy but not spicy, which I'm curious what that means, enemies to lovers romance with witty banter, found family, and only one bed. It does look like some people are shelving this as young adults, so maybe that's what the steamy but not spicy means. And it does look like some sort of fantasy where we have like two warring kingdoms, that kind of thing, so I was curious. We also have Stop My Bleeding Heart by Victoria Anders. And this one is a contemporary coming-of-age type of story with like a Snow White retelling twist, which made me very curious because it is about a teenage girl who basically has had all the bad things happen. I think her father dies, her boyfriend breaks up with her, etc. And then she ends up in her aunt's home with foster kids, and things go from there. So because of the contemporary twist of it, I was very curious. I also picked up Court of Dragons and Crowns by G. Bailey. G. Bailey is an author that I have multiple ebooks from, and I don't think I have ever tried from her except for like one novella that was vampires that I didn't really enjoy, but I think I'm not as into certain types of vampire books as much. So this one is about multiple dragon kings and their need for a queen. It looks like it's going to be a why choose fantasy romance. I think they're dragon shifters. but I've been very, very curious about G. Bailey's work. It does say it's a full-length enemies to lovers fantasy romance with dragon shifters, a badass heroine, and possessive alpha males. Perfect for fans of spicy fantasy Why Choose romance. I like Why Choose, haven't read a ton of it in a while, and so again, very curious. It was free, we're gonna try it. I also picked up Curse of the Wolf King by Tassanja Odette. I've never read anything by this author, but I have been seeing other people read stuff by her, and I was very curious. This is supposed to be a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I am sometimes a very big sucker for retellings. I mean, we had a Snow White one. This is supposed to be Beauty and the Beast, and it looks like this is an upper YA / new adult series, so it has slow burn romance, but will have some steam there as well. Each book can be read on its own. There will be happily ever afters. Again, the Beauty and the Beast retelling thing is what really, really got me. Also, I really love this cover. The next book I have here is Find the Jinn by Maz Maddox. Maz Maddox does dinosaur romances. I don't know exactly what that means. One of them was in a Stuff Your Kindle a couple times ago that I almost got. I thought I clicked it, but it turns out I didn't. But again, I follow Mariah on Instagram, and she has read the dinosaur things, and so when I saw this author's name, again, even though it's not exactly the same thing, I knew I needed to pick it up. And it says, Find the Jinn is the first in a trilogy of death, pining, dark magic, and a grumpy fish named Kevin. Oh yeah, okay, so this one has like necromancy and a vampire bodyguard. It sounds like it's gonna have a lot of very interesting things in there. I'm curious. I also picked up Dark Arts by Fiona Starr. This one is the Society of Ancient Magic, book 1. It does look like it is going to be a Why Choose romance, and it doesn't look like this is like a school or university setting, but it does have some sort of like magical club, like you can be invited to this club when you have magic or a part of a magical family. And our main girl in here like has no magical ability, but somehow ends up in this club or invited to this club anyway, and I'm very curious about it. Then I also picked up Cursed Luck by Serenity Ackles and J.S. Lee. Part of the reason I picked this up is I've actually read some books by J.S. Lee before, but they were contemporary Why Choose like K-pop romances. This one does seem like it's going to be probably paranormal, but it does also look like Why Choose. It says it is the first book in the Goddess of Fate and Destiny series, a medium build Why Choose novel. I'm curious about the medium build because again, I usually prefer a slow burn, or at least like I really want the romance and the like friendship and stuff like to build as characters first. And it looks like it is about this woman having a bunch of cursed luck, like bad thing after bad thing after bad thing is happening to her, and then she ends up having some sort of magic of luck bonded to her, and that leads her then to the like Why Choose romance type of stuff. I then also picked up A Grave So Cold by C.M. Tillman, and this one is specifically shelved on Goodreads as paranormal and Halloween romance. That might be something I need to pick up sooner rather than later because I'm very, very curious as to what that means, because we are in October, and so I forgot that I got this. A lot of these titles do not mean a thing to me until I pull it up on Goodreads, but now I sort of want to know. So it does specify that our main character is going to meet a stranger in a graveyard on Halloween, and there is like a blood curse and trapped spirits, and she has to free her family from the curse in some way, but I'm just intrigued by that, the paranormal Halloween romance thing. I also picked up Fake Dating a Witch by Bridget Hunt, which is going to be a paranormal fake dating romance, which it says here, it's a very short summary, that thanks to a spell gone wrong when she was a teen, she now needs to convince her family she's fallen in love, so she has to get a fake boyfriend for the summer solstice celebration. And then it sounds like it might also be a second chance romance because her high school crush is going to be the guy that she fake dates. Yeah. The next one I picked up was On Death's Door by Miranda May. This one is another Why Choose romance, and I'm very, very curious about this one. I know I've said curious a lot because I don't know much about these, but it appears that our main character starts this book after she has died, and she ends up going to some sort of like Scythe Academy, like she has to go back to school after she's dead to like learn how to maybe I don't know, be a Reaper or something. I don't actually know, but it is a Wide Choose Paranormal Academy romance trilogy. I need to know. Then I also picked up Project Adapt Book 1, Found, by Terra Nova, who I believe is Jade Waltz, and Terra Nova is the sci-fi romance pen name. So this is going to be a sci-fi romance. It looks like potentially also Wide Choose. Yeah. So it appears that she is a failed human prototype, which is intriguing because not just like human alien romance, failed human prototype and alien romance. And it does specify that this is the first book in a space fantasy alien romance series that will have the heroine traveling through the galaxy, experiencing new things and meeting multiple aliens along the way. Her collection of very alien-looking alien love interests will grow throughout the series. It will be steamy with a human, I'm putting this in quotes, human heroine and alien heroes. I need to know, guys. That's what Stuff Your Kindle is to me. Books that I have probably never heard of, some authors I have never heard of, and I'm just so curious about them. I think Stuff Your Kindle is a great way to try out new things from authors and then potentially find authors that you absolutely love and want to read more things from. Like, that is what I want to do. Let me know if you would like a Stuff Your Kindle vlog where I just try out a bunch of Stuff Your Kindle books, because I think that could be very, very fun. Then I got The Protector Guild by Gray Holborn. I'm not on the part where I can look up what I actually purchased right now, but The Protector Guild is the name of the series. First book is Academy of Protectors, so I'm wondering if it was like a books 1 through 3 or something like that, like a box set. But the first book in this series is saying that it is another Wide Choose series. It is slow burn, urban fantasy, and it does look like Academy of Protectors. It should be some sort of, I'm gonna assume, college age. I don't usually do the high school setting very much. But yeah, she wants to join the Protector Guild and is gonna be training on how to do that. And so yeah, school setting, hopefully university. Then I also picked up Spark of Desire by J. Kirsten, which is another Dragon Shifter book. I don't think I've ever actually read a Dragon Shifter book, and somehow I have at least 2 now. The first part of this says, I've been marked for death, but these dragons are determined to set me free. It is another slow burn, Why Choose romance. It does say it is a darker themed paranormal romance, and it's set at the same time as a different series by this author, but you can read this separately. Since I did pick this one up, I will start with this one. We'll see how it goes. Then I also picked up The Awakened Prince by Alora Carter. This is another like fairy tale retelling sort of thing. This is supposed to be a Sleeping Beauty retelling. I guess that makes sense, The Awakened Prince. However, it's part of the Once Upon a Prince series, and these all have different authors in this series. There was a different one that I tried to read earlier this year that was a Cinderella retelling in the exact same series, different author. I DNF'd it. So I did pick this one up still, going in with middling hopes because of the fact that it's a completely different author, but obviously I'm a sucker for retellings. It is a retelling of Sleeping Beauty. That is really all I mostly know about it. I don't know, because it's The Awakened Prince, maybe he is the one that goes to sleep. We'll see. Then I also picked up Slower by A.W. Scott. Okay, this is a male slow burn fake dating romance. And so yeah, very, very curious about this one. It is about a burned out rock star and his best friend's younger brother, a slight age gap, so we'll see about that one. But yeah, I love the idea of a slower burn. Fake dating is one of my favorite tropes. I am not opposed to male or female romance, and so yeah, we're gonna try that one too. And then I actually only have one book left to talk about, and that is Home to the Hollow by Cassandra Featherstone. This is the Misfit Protection Program. It says 0 to 1. I don't know if this one is actually an omnibus edition or what it is. It looks like it might have the prequel and book 1 in it, because if you go into like the series thing on Goodreads, 0 is Road to the Hollow and book 1 is Return to the Hollow. So Home to the Hollow, the one that it looks like I got, might be like prequel and first book, which I'm very, very curious about. Full-length omnibus that includes Road to the Hollow and Return to the Hollow and a new full-length novel, Roused in the Hollow. Okay, so I think the first two might be novellas. And then there's a new full-length novel called Roused in the Hollow. This is another Why Choose Romance. It looks like there's also paranormal elements. It says that she's a girl from the South who left like a decade ago, saying that she was never going to come back, and then eventually does have to come back. But she seems to have a job as an FBI profiler, maybe. And then it talks about how the town that she comes back to has supernaturals that she doesn't know exist. I'm very, very curious to see about that. Things that she doesn't know is paranormal. And then, again, we do have the Why Choose Romance element. Again, I'm curious about this one. Yeah, I've probably said that way too many times in this video. But like I said before, this is sort of what Stuff Your Kindle is for me. Is, yes, it's adding a ton of books to my Kindle TBR, but it's things that I probably would never have found otherwise. Most of these things are book titles I've never heard before, authors I've never heard before, people have never talked about them on their channel, so I am curious about them because I don't have anything else to base judgment on, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's why I got them. They were free. I'm curious. Let me know if you would like some sort of like Stuff Your Kindle vlog, where I just try Stuff Your Kindle books, because that could be fun. And if you guys like this video, because it was a lot of books, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I do have videos coming out Tuesdays, Thursdays, and sometimes Saturdays, so I will see you then. Bye!